They were done. It was, yeah, exactly. Okay, welcome back to ukulele. So we're going to start with just a quick little bit of music theory. Different kind of music theory. This should be understandable to everyone. So our ukulele has 4 strings, as we know. We tune a standard ukulele to G, C, E, A, right? G, C, E, A. Good children eat almonds is what I've been telling Ezra, but whatever it takes. G, C, E, A. So this is our G chord, right? We all know what a G chord looks like. Okay? And one of the things I'm hoping you're getting to the point of is where you can look at my fingers and tell what chord I'm playing, right? That's a G chord. There's an F chord. There's a C chord, right? Okay. Here's a guitar. A guitar strings are E, A, D, G, B, E. You don't need to memorize that. This right here is a capo. And what a capo does is it allows you to change the key that you're playing in. So for instance, right, I can play something. Hey Venu, or I can turn on original sound so you can hear me a little better. Hey Venu, Shalom Aleichem. And if it's the wrong key, what I can do is I can play the exact same chords. Put the capo up here. Hey, hey, Venu, Shalom Aleichem. Right, moves it up by 5 frets. Same chord shapes, though, work for us. So technically, on a guitar, this is a G chord. Okay? This is a G chord. But when I put it on a capo 5, it becomes a C chord. Does that make sense conceptually? You don't need to understand the specifics. You don't need to be able to do that math. Just conceptually how it changes. Now, looking at this again, you see that I've got a finger on these 2 top strings, right? And a finger down here. I'm going to lift up these 2, pretend these 2 strings don't exist, these top 2 strings, and we're only left with the bottom 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What chord does this look like I'm playing? It's a C chord, right? Yeah, I like Amy. That was good. Yeah, right, it looks like a C chord. You can see it's the same thing as a C on a ukulele, except there's 6 strings, making those top 2 strings disappear. And so the bottom 4 strings, or the top 4 strings, or however you want to talk about them, the highest 4 strings on a guitar, if you put it at capo 5, are G, C, E, A. So you heard what that sounds like, and then you should be able to hear the exact same notes. So, all of which is to say that a ukulele is the same tunings as the bottom or top or whatever we're saying 4 strings of a guitar. So, this right here is a D chord on a guitar, and it's a G chord on a ukulele. So I'm mentioning all of this, first of all, just to give us a little bit of music theory, string theory, those sorts of things. But also that as you get better and better at uke, if you wanted to add in a guitar, you're not starting from scratch. You're just dealing with 2 extra strings. So all of your chord shapes are there. So, right, what chord is this? This is our F chord, right? So you got to put in another finger because you got those extra strings, but that's a C chord on a ukulele. Or a C chord on a guitar.
Hi, Daniel.
Yeah, Linda.
I feel like I might be missing a piece, like the relationship when you just showed us the F on the ukulele. Now you, on a guitar, I understand that that's the C chord. Probably what I don't completely understand is the relationship between that F and that C. Isn't there some relationship that makes that more of a coherent thought?
Yes. So actually what's happening is, here's a guitar, right? This shape we think of as being an F shape on a uke, right? Is a C shape on a guitar. You got to put in an extra finger, but it's still a C shape on a guitar. That's a C chord on a guitar. Okay. Now, C, we're familiar with the idea of sliding it up. So C, D, E, F. That's an F. So what happens is when I play that same C shape and I put a capo on the 5th fret of a guitar, that even though I think of this as a C chord, right? It's a C shape chord. My fingers are playing a C. This becomes an F chord. So that's an F chord. So you hear it there, and then that'll be the exact same chord as... Did that make sense, Linda? Did that help?
No, not completely. Here's why. I'm sorry. I mean, yes, that did help.
No. What's the piece you're missing? Go for it.
That when you showed us the F on the ukulele, and then you showed us the C on the guitar.
Yep.
What is the relationship between that F and that C?
It's the same shape. Our fingers are going to play the same shape of a chord.
That's the only thing.
That's the relationship.
Okay.
Right? So this chord right here that we know of is, I know it's everyone's favorite chord, your B flat chord, right? If you're playing that same chord on a guitar,
It's an F chord.
Is an F chord. But if I slide that F, G, A, B flat, so if I play it up here, like there's a capo 5, then it becomes a B flat chord instead of an F chord, even though I think of it as an F shape. I call this the F shape, right? In the same way that you could take a capo, Ray actually has a ukulele capo, and you could take a capo and put it on, call it the 5th fret of a ukulele, and it turns from an F to a G to an A to a B flat, actually.
Last question. Is it like the 5th fret of the guitar, when you put a capo there, are you creating what we get when we have our ukulele sound? Is that like, so musically the 5th fret capo on a guitar creates the sound that we're getting with our ukulele now?
Yeah, or at least creates the strings tuning. Yeah, I mean, a uke's going to sound different than a guitar because strings are made differently in the body. But yeah, exactly, Linda. That's exactly what's happening.
Thank you.
Did Ray just fall?
Huh?
Yeah. Ray, are you okay?
Thank you. Yes, I'm fine. Just turning around a bit. I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay, so for instance, Linda, if you wanted to play along on your guitar, what you could do is put a capo on the 5th fret of your guitar and then look at the shapes that everyone's playing on a uke and play those same shapes on your guitar. So when people play an Right, so when people play an F on the ukulele, you would play a C on the guitar. When people play a G on the ukulele, you would play a D on the guitar. You would just follow the same shapes, and then you'd be playing the same thing because it's on the 5th fret.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Oh, Grandma Judy, yeah.
Can you do the same with the ukulele to the guitar?
Explain what you mean.
Well, I guess you can because the guitar at the 5th fret. Okay.
Exactly. It works in both directions. For you all, the real reason I'm bringing it up today is that if there was anyone who wanted to start thinking about playing guitar, for you to understand that it's really an incremental step from a ukulele. It's not a new instrument. And to answer your question, Grandma Judy, I didn't really play ukulele before this class. I played guitar. Really? And so it was very easy for me to immediately transition to the uke, other than I have sometimes had a hard time remembering the names of the chords on the ukulele for that reason. Though I finally gotten to the point where I don't think of this as a C chord on a guitar, I think of it as an F on a ukulele. I think in ukulele now, thanks to you all, but just have gotten there pretty recently. Okay. That was a long introduction. Any last questions on that before we start playing together?
Ready. We're ready for you.
Okay, let me see. I hope this is going to work. I normally have a second screen, which is how I do the screen share. Looks like this will work. You're seeing this, yeah? This is coming through okay? Okay, can everyone see everything okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'm muting everyone as I turn on original sound so we don't get that echo. And let's just go through our quick Hashkivenu warm-up. The first, Sean, I'm making you a co-host. Though I feel like, Sean, what we should really learn how to play today is Happy Birthday. It was Sean's birthday this week. Okay, let's try our ukulele. Here we go. 2, 3. Oh, hold on. Let me mute everyone. There we go. 2, 3, 4. Down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Here we go. C. Here comes G. A minor. And F. C. Up, down, down, up, down, up, A minor, down, up, F. Okay, keep going. Now G. So when you get to that F, I just want to remind us what I call the turnaround. Right, the turnaround is the last chord that leads you back to the beginning. So one way we do turnarounds is we play seventh chords, but another way we do a turnaround is simply we change our strumming up. And in changing our strumming up, what we're doing is we're letting everyone know that we're at the end of a phrase and coming back to it. So you can hear me doing that, right? Down, up, down, down, up, down, up, and then I'll go. So when I hit that F, I'm doing a different strum to let you know that we're continuing. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up on the C. Now G, down, down, up, down, A minor, down, down, up. And with the F, just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, C. Okay, did that make sense what I was saying? So again, this is adding texture and, you know what, I would even call this just adding musicality to your playing.
So you don't do the F chord at all?
I'm playing the F chord. I'm just changing the strum on the F chord. Since it's the last thing, I'm going to a much simpler strum. Instead of the down, down, up, down, up, I'm just doing down, up, down, up, down, up, in the same rhythm, right? Your wrist isn't going to change speeds. And you don't have to do it exactly like that, but encourage you to just play with the rhythm of the final chord, or the strum, I should say, not the rhythm, but the strum of the final chord in a way that lets your audience or your imagined audience or your own ears know that you are going back to the beginning. And add some variety, add some texture, and really musicality, I think is the word for it. Okay, we're going to try that same concept. Feel free to work it into your playing whenever we are playing. It should hopefully get to the point eventually where you don't even notice that you're doing things like this. I don't recognize that I'm messing around when I'm playing with you all, and sometimes, in fact, I have to consciously work to make sure I'm not messing around too much when we're playing together. Okay, same thing, same progression, just doing it in the key of G instead. Let me move that out so you can see my fingers also. Okay, so we've got our G, we've got our D. How's that D coming for people? Is it okay? Ezra tried to convince me yesterday that he can't play a D because his fingers are too big for it. I said, Ezra, if my fingers can play a D, you can play a D. So as a reminder, the lesson that I keep hammering home, at least early on, is that you really want to come in exactly perpendicular to that, right? That you want to be coming in straight. The D is going to be an exception. We're actually going to twist our wrist some. The opposite direction that you twist your wrist for like a B flat. You're going to twist out towards the headstock so that your fingers can really stack on top of each other. Do you see that? How my fingers kind of like fold on top of each other? Nestle on top of each other, whatever word you want to use there. Does that make sense what I'm saying and what you're seeing? Can you see that? So that's really what you want to do for that D. If you're having trouble playing it, it's almost certainly that you're coming in straight away and there's just not enough room in that fret when you're straight away, right? That you just can't fit it all in the second fret. So you really got to sort of stack them vertically on top of each other by turning that wrist outwards. Okay, made sense, yeah? Let's try playing this. So we've got our G, we've got our D, we've got our E minor, and we've got our C. And remember, from that E minor, go ahead and play that E minor, everyone. And if you'd like to, what you can do to go to that C from the E minor is all you got to do is move that middle finger down one string and everything else goes away. It's a different fingering. Normally we play the C with a third finger rather than a second finger, right? But it's a pretty easy transition. Okay, let's try this. 2, 3, 4, a G, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. Okay, one more time and then we're gonna go on. Here, G, now D, E minor, and C, G, D, E minor. And you'll hear me change the strum on that C to turn it around. G, E, D, E minor, and C, G, D, E minor, and C. One more time. G, D, E minor, and C. Okay, how did that feel for everyone? Any thoughts? Any?
I would just like to say that I'm playing around with the different susses, and it seems like that strum lends itself to like the first half of the strum I do G, then the second half of the strum I lift up, to do that G sus.
Nice.
And that is feeling a little better to me.
Good. Glad to hear that. One of the things you'll notice is when I go into the susses, sometimes I will switch away from the down, down, up, and I will just go to a down and an up. So G, D. Right, so when I was playing around with the susses on that D there, I went just to a down and an up to give me more opportunities to play around with it.
Can you do that once more, Rabbi Daniel?
Yeah, sure.
So we can see that when we...
So, let me turn on the original sound for you. There you go. So what I did there was when I played the D, I went to just the down, up, down, up, down, up. E minor, I went back to the down, down, up, down, up. And when I went to that C, I sent my right hand into double speed. So again, just things you can do. Not that everyone needs to do these, but just you should experiment. Once something feels easy to you, and hopefully some of these warm-up exercises we do are getting to the point where they're starting to feel a little easier, that's what you should work on. But if where you are is that D chord is still driving you nuts, or moving to the E minor chord is driving you nuts, that's what you should be working on. Here we go. Okay, so now we've got an F. We've got a C. We've got a D minor. And we've got a B flat. And when you hear me playing around there, I'm actually just playing around by adding in like a C right down there, no matter what other chord we're playing. So you can play around with it that way too. And I'm sure that there is a very good music theory answer why you can use that C for all of the chords here, but I'm not going to give it to you, and I'm just going to say that I'm using it because it sounds good. And that's how you should guide your way too. That if you start adding in or playing with something and it sounds good, then great. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Okay, here we go. F, C, D minor, B flat, F, C, D minor, B flat, F, C, D minor, B flat, F, C, D minor, B flat. Last time. F, down, up, C, down, up, D minor, down, up, B flat, down, F. Okay, thoughts, responses, how did that feel playing in this key? I'm not hearing much from folks, but I'm just going to assume that's good. I'm going to go ahead and tune up mine a little bit. It's just a little out of tune. Make sure when you are tuning that you are plucking as fast as I am plucking here when you're tuning. You don't want to just let it ring. Okay, let's go on. And let's vamp it up a little bit. Okay, so we're playing this Hawaiian vamp, which just as a reminder is the 2-7-5-7-1. So in the key of C, that means we're going from the D7 to the G7 to the C. D7 to the G7 to the C. So remember that C is 1 in the key of C. D makes it 2. So D7 is that 2-7. D, E, F, G is the 5 chord, right? C, D, E, F, G. And so it's a 5-7, G7. And then back to the 1. So the 1 chord's the C, the 2 chord's the D, the 5 chord's the G. If that didn't make sense to you, don't worry about it. And instead just play a D7, a G7, and a C. 2, 3, 4, D7, G7, and C. D7, G7, and C. D7, G7, Okay, is that pretty easy for folks now? Okay, let's do it at full speed. That was half speed. D7, G7, C. D7, G7, C. D7, G7, C. D7, G7, and C. D7, G7, C. D7, G7, and C. Okay, I'm getting looks from Grandma Judy like we can do that at half speed but not full speed. Am I reading that look right? So good. You've got something to work on. Remember, it's the full speed exercise here is about the feel and giving you a sense of that feel. So really focus on how that D7 feeds into the G7. It's the same fingering, just drops down a string and the index finger drops in. So if that's tough, I would just sit there and I'd practice this exercise. D7, G7, D7, G7. Because this really, particularly in the key of C, it's a feel thing, right? You've got here, and then it goes down, and then it slides up. Okay. Any thoughts or questions there before we go on? Let's try in our other key. A7, D7, and G. Okay, I just played our Hashki Venu in the key of G just to get it into our head. Otherwise, it can be tough to switch between things where they both have a G in them. So now we're hearing in G. So we've got A7, D7, and G. 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 A7, D7, G. Okay, how did that feel?
Are you using your pinky?
Sorry, I turned it off. You won't hear the echo anymore. Go ahead, say that again.
Are you using your pinky on C, on the G at the end?
On the G, let's see. A7, G7. No, I'm playing the G. Oh, I'm playing the G regularly. I'm just playing a regular G. I'm using my pinky to do some suspension stuff a little bit, but that's just for, adding a little jazz to it. I got a look from Amy when I said that. Okay. Let's play some blues. We haven't played some blues in a while. How's that sound?
Can we play one that we don't usually play?
Play in a key we don't usually play in, you're saying?
Yeah.
Totally. Let's play blues in a new key. I'm all for that. Okay, we normally play blues. Our three keys that we play blues in are in G, F, A, and C. G, F, A, and C.
How about E?
Yeah, I was just looking at E. It includes a B7, which is a little tough. You know what, Linda? Let's make our way through the ones we have played before, and then we're going to add it in because it'll warm us up with some of these chords we'll need.
Sounds good.
So let's start with G. So our 1 chord in key of G is G or G7. Our 4 chord is the C7. And our 5 chord is the D7. Back to our 1 chord. Bye, Amy. We'll miss you. But we're not giving you an excused absence for this, Amy. You know, the work you have to do for other classes it has nothing to do with this one. It's
I'll be back next week, all in. But right now, I've got a lot of things going on.
I think you understood that attendance is a big part of the grade for this class. So
I know it is.
Good luck.
Bye, everyone. I'll see you next week.
Good luck with your grant.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Rabbi Daniel, what are the letters on the D7? Is it 1 and 2, those fingers, or?
1 and 2. You can do 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. I tend to play it with 2 and 3 rather than 1 and 2, but you can do it however you want.
Oh, because you can go from the C to the 2 and 3. I gotcha.
I think D7 and G7 go together better when you play the D7 with a 2 and a 3.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Here we go. So we've got our G7 as our 1, our C7's our 4, our D7's our 5. So 2, 3, 4, G7, C7, G7. Now C7, G7. D7, C7, G7. Turn it around with your 5, the D7. Back to 1, G7, C7, G7, C7. Back to G7. D7, C7, and G7. Turn around with the D7. G7 goes to C7, goes to G7. Now we're on that second line. Here we go. C7, G7. D7, C7, G7. Turn around with the D7 and end with G7. Okay, how'd that feel for folks? Down for mom.
Very bluesy.
Good. So keep practicing it. It's a great one to practice. While you're practicing it, I encourage you to make up absurd lyrics. I sing songs about the dog and the children all the time, particularly when the children are there. They get very annoyed, which I, enjoy. So encourage you to do it. Remember, the rules of a blues song is you repeat the first line twice, and then you have a second line, right? So I'm sitting here with the ukulele crew. And then you just say it again. I'm sitting here with the ukulele crew. It's what I do on Wednesdays. Without all of you all, I don't know what else I would do. And then you turn it around, right? Not on Thursdays. On Wednesdays is when we jam. And then you say the same thing again. Is that right? So that's the rule with a blues song. You repeat that line twice. conjunction, junction. Yeah, right. Like it really doesn't matter. You throw in whatever words you want. You just repeat the first line twice, and then you resolve it. Which is good with repeating the first line twice, because then when you're repeating it the second time, you can be thinking about whatever rhymes with the last word of your phrase. Okay. One other sort of. Oh yeah, Judy, go ahead.
It's 1411, 1411. Then you go to 4411, 5415. Correct?
You got it.
Okay.
You got it. 12-bar blues, which is really 3 phrases, right? And so you sing, you sing the line for the first phrase. You sing that same line for the second phrase, and you have a resolving line for the third phrase.
Wait, so it's 1411 and then 1411 and then what was the other?
No. Look at the chart over here.
Right.
1411, 4411, 5415. That's what this chart is over here.
But you said to repeat the first one twice.
You repeat the words you're saying. That's how you sing a blues song, is you come up with it's confusing because we're using the same words to describe it. Whatever words you're singing, like sitting here. So now I'm just going to play the first line, okay? Sitting here with all of you all for ukulele on Zoom. Now I'm going to play the second line, but I'm going to sing that first line again. Sitting here with all of you all, the ukulele crew on Zoom.
Okay.
You don't want to tie up the microphone while you're playing, or else it makes a real big boom. Right, for the third line. So that's all I was saying. Sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to confuse us with ridiculous blues.
Oh, you don't do the same line again, you do the same words again.
Same words, yeah, I know. It was because I keep using the word phrase to talk about music and the words, and it's confusing. Okay, one note on being an instrument owner. This is a bigger issue the nicer your instrument is. So if your instrument is made out of plywood, composite materials, you won't have any issues with this. But if your instrument, like mine, like Ray's, like many of ours, if it's made out of solid wood, then it is highly impacted by the humidity. And the humidity in all of our homes is dropping right now. The heat, the central heat eats up humidity. Right, you notice it with your skin and your lips and things like that. And your instruments notice it as well. So if you're noticing that all of a sudden there's buzzing, I'm mentioning this because I'm hearing buzzing on my instrument, then almost certainly what you've got is a humidity issue. And so I would recommend getting some sort of humidity solution for your ukulele. There's all sorts of different options out there. If you go onto Amazon or walk into any music store or whatever it is and tell them you need a humidity solution for your ukulele, Humidifier ukulele is what I would type into Amazon or Google or Guitar Center or wherever it is that you're buying from. You can get some are like little things that you have filled with gel, and you fill it up with a little bit of water and it drops in and sits in between your strings when it's in the case. Things like that. I'm seeing confused looks. I can let's see.
How do you know what your ukulele is made out of?
So these are all ukulele humidifier solutions right here. Here's the one I was thinking of right there. This is the one that I have. Not that I particularly recommend it. It's just the one that I've had for years. And it just drops into the sound hole. And those little things right there are so that it can sit on the strings. And then you just put it in there when you are not playing. Same idea with this Diodario one. Or I also like these packs right here. Those Bovetta packs are quite good because when they dry out, you toss them. They just automatically keep it at the proper humidity. And so you can just kind of throw a couple of those in your case if you'd like, is a good solution. So anyways, just something to think about if you notice that your ukulele is starting to buzz more or not play as nicely or things like that. That part of being an instrument owner is taking care of it in all sorts of different environments.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, please.
So I use the Boveda, and I would suggest that everybody gets something, and no matter what. And because I had the sad experience of having a guitar crack on me because I didn't pay any attention to that. And ever since then, I buy those I like the Boveda because you don't have to fill them back up with water. And they last, one Boveda little packet lasts a long.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Linda, that's what I use for all my guitars too. I use the Boveda. I quite am fond of them. Oop, Linda, we've lost you. You froze. I don't know if you can hear us.
Which is the Boveda? Which is the Boveda? Is it the one that you showed us originally that was long and like a stick?
No, it's a packet, Judy. It's
Okay.
called Boveda.
Okay.
See those packets?
Okay. I gotcha. Okay.
Rabbi Daniel, there's also a little packet holder. Maybe it's down there a little bit. Yeah, see the Boveda single fabric holder right there. I use those.
Now, make sure that you are reading, when you order it, you want one that's for wooden instruments, or ukulele or guitar or any of that is fine. But Boveda makes the same product in all sorts of different humidity. Like the one right next to it is at a percentage that's made for cigars in a humidor. Which is not what
right.
You'll cause yourself some issues with your ukulele by having the humidity be too high. Actually, what they do when they're building nice wooden instruments is they, because the issue is once they build it, if the humidity changes, then the wood expands or contracts and it can cause cracking, right? So they build instruments at 50% humidity. Because it gives it the most tolerance for places that have high humidity or low humidity, that it's all based on that. So the Boveda 49% are the ones you want.
Is it okay for the pack to touch your instrument?
Yeah, it's fine. You'll notice if they start going bad, you just trash them.
No,
what happens is that, yes, they can touch it. They can touch your instrument.
Yeah, Mom.
Even though it's wet?
They're
not wet.
They're not wet.
Oh.
They're not wet.
How do you know if your instrument is wood?
Yours is wood. Yours is
Mine
wood.
is wood?
Yep. Yeah. It can also be just about whether or not you're noticing anything, right? So yeah, Mom, I have some extra Bovedas. I'll give you one if you remind me. Okay. So now let's go ahead and play blues in the key of F.
What is B7?
So B7, yeah, good question, Grandma Judy. So for B7, we take our index finger and we put it all the way across that first fret. And then we use I'm going to use our third finger, actually. No, I'm going to use my second finger to put it there to make the 7th chord. Yeah, I'm just getting just a little buzz on that A string. It's driving me a little nuts, which is what made me think of that humidity. So this is just, remember, we know our A7 pretty well. A7 is one of our easiest chords, right? So what we're doing is we're doing an A7, and then we're using our finger like it's a capo to just block it off and sliding it up, and it turns into a B flat 7. So we've got our F7 to our B flat 7 to our C7 to our F7. So at least we get one easy chord in there, right? The C7. The F7 can be tough, but if you're having trouble with the F7 getting to it, just play an F and then put that ring finger down to turn it into a 7. Instead of trying to immediately go to it, right? Which can be tough. You play your F and then put your finger down. Though it's worth noting, it's on different strings, but it's the same shape as your G minor chord, right? There's your G minor chord and you move it up a string and it's an F7. Okay, so let's try playing this, and then I have to go because I have to be at a press conference for Afghan refugees. The CRC is broadly a part of a big project, hopefully to bring 5,500 Afghan refugees to the St. Louis area, which is about 500 families, being led by Jerry Schlichter. Okay, here we go. So F7.
That's fabulous.
Isn't that exciting? Yeah, really, really exciting. You'll be hearing all sorts of opportunities to help and be involved in all sorts of different ways as time goes by. Okay, so F7, 2, 3, 4, F7, B flat 7, back to F7, B flat 7, F7, C7, B flat 7, F7. Turn it around to C7, to the top, F7, B flat 7, F7. Second line, B flat 7, B flat 7. Now back to F7. C7, B flat 7, F7. Turn it around to C7 and end on an F7. Okay, how did that feel? The B flat 7 can be a little tough, yeah? Okay, so we didn't add anything.
Harder.
Yeah, it's harder. Yep. We did not add anything new today. I apologize for that, but we will certainly add new stuff next week. But I think hopefully we reviewed some good stuff today also. So review those chords, review those things we went over. And next week we'll start another song or two. Yeah, Ray.
Thank you.
Or just a good session.
Good. It was good to be with y'all. Love doing it. And I don't know when we'll do another ukulele Havdalah jam session thing, but it'll be coming. It'll be coming. Also, I don't know how many folks remember right before the pandemic, we did what we called Shabbat Kulanu, where everyone was in the oneg and all the musicians were in a circle, and then...
Wondered.
So I think we're working on planning another one starting in March. And I really would love for the ukuleleers to be a part of that and a part of that circle. So it was Sean's second Shabbat. That's a lot of alliteration there. Sean's second Shabbat. Oh, hold on. Everyone break out your ukuleles.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so C's, F's, and G's. C's, F's, and G's. We're going to play in the key of C. Happy birthday to G, you. Happy birthday, back to C, to you. Happy birthday, now F, dear Sean. And out to the G, or G7 will sound good here. Happy birthday, back to C. Happy birthday.